Hello children, today we are going to deal with the third chapter of chemistry, which is the nature of matter. Earlier in our second chapter we have studied in under the nature of chapter the states of matter, where we have studied about the solid, liquid and gases, their properties and how the arrangement of molecules are there. Today we are going to deal with the classification of matter, where we have to know from where the matter is made up of and what are the materials. So if you look behind about the history of the classification of matter, earlier the scientists and the philosophers, they used to classify the matter based on their five things, that is based on sky, air, earth, fire and water. Now we know that when we are dividing or classifying the matter, we can divide the matter based on the two things: one on the physical state, which we have dealt in our second chapter, and another one is based on their chemical composition. When we talk about the chemical composition of a matter, we have to see that from which component they have been made. So on the basis of chemical composition of matter, we can divide matter into two things. One is pure substance, another one is impure or pure substance, another one is impure, or you can say mixtures. You can say that it is a mixtures, where we can find out. So if you see matter made up of two things, one is living matter, another one is non-living matter. So we are talking mainly about the non-living matter. Non-living matter can be divided into pure substances as well as the into mixtures. Further, if you look into these class distribution of a substance into pure, we classify pure substances into two categories, where one is element, another one is compounds. So for our convenience, we have divided these elements in further four more classifications. One is called as metal, elements in metal, non-metal, fourth one metalloid, and third one metalloid, fourth one is inert gases. Inert gases. So total classification of this one is pure substances into elements into metal, non-metal, metalloids and inert gases. Compounds, they have got a fixed composition, they may be a homogeneous or mixtures, whereas in case of impure substances, where we are talking about the mixtures, so mixtures can be of two types. So mixtures can be of two types: homogeneous mixture, another one is heterogeneous mixture. Heterogeneous mixtures. So if you look into the definitions of these mixtures, we can say that the homogeneous mixture is a type of a mixture where the distribution of the constituents are uniform, that is they are available throughout the content of the solution, whereas in case of heterogeneous, the composition of the constituent particle may not be same throughout the mixture. That's why it is called as a heterogeneous mixture. For example, if you see the element like sulfur, which we are talking about, the in case of elements, it is made up of only one type of elements, that is sulfur. So sulfur means it is a yellowish. On page number 41 there are certain diagrams given to you. You can just have to find out the which is pure substance and which is impure substance. So first one, sulfur, we can categorize into pure substance because it is made up of only one type of element, whereas lemonade, it is a impure substance or it is a mixture. Orange juice, it is a mixture because it is made up of two substances. Hydrogen balloon, where we are talking about the only one type of a gas, hydrogen, so it is a pure substance. Milk, we can say that it contains various components, so we can say that it is a mixture only, because we may not get a milk pure. So here it contains various minerals and traces and calcium components, so we can say that it is a impure substance or it is a mixture of homogeneous type of mixture. Coke, we can say that it is also a mixture which contains carbonated water, that is mixed with the carbon dioxide gas. And Sugar, here we talk about the sugar, it is a single component, so it is a pure component, whereas gold is also a pure, so it is made up of only one type of element. So these are the certain things which have been given to your books. Now let us talk one by one about the elements, compounds and their different classifications. Now children, we are going to see what is the pure substance made up of. First we have talked about the element. Now what is an element? Let us say what is the definition of a substance. So element is a pure substance which cannot be broken down into two or more pure substance into pure substances. So we can define that a pure substance which cannot be broken into two or more pure substances by any chemical mean is called as element. Okay, so if we talk about the number of elements available in nature or made by man, total number of elements nowadays available is 118, out of which 92 are naturally occurring elements. Here, some of the books they have given 98 elements, that is, it is not confirmed. So, naturally occurring elements are 92 and rest of the elements, that is 28, they are man-made. Others, man-made elements. That is, these elements are synthesized in the laboratory by scientists. So when we talk about this, apart from this natural energy, if you see in case of the period, long form of a periodic table, you will find that there are certain elements which are having radioactivity. That is, they emit a very dangerous radiation. That's why they are called, they have been classified as a radioactive substances. Radioactive substances. Okay, so for classifying the elements, it was in the year 1808. 1808, John Dalton was the first to classify the elements based on their properties. He has given the symbols for certain elements. For example, for hydrogen, he has made the symbol like circle and one dot. Hydrogen. For hydrogen. For nitrogen, he has made one circle and he has said that it is azote, or you can say just azote. Now this name azote is absolute. Absolute means it is not used, it is for nitrogen, so everybody is using nitrogen as a azote. Okay, for carbon what he did, he has made a circle and he has just given a black color to it, indicating that it is a carbon. Right. So for carbon, for oxygen, simple circle he has made. For oxygen, he has just made one circle, empty circle for oxygen. For phosphorus, you will see that he has made one circle. Along with this, he has used three lines. So he has said that it is phosphorus. Okay. For sulfur, he has made circle along with four lines like this. So it is sulfur. For magnesia, that is for magnesia, he has made one circle and he has used lines like this. Okay, for magnesia. So other elements like lime, for lime he has made a circle and the line was just tilted like this. Okay, lime, and then you will have a soda. This is lime. For soda, he has used two lines for soda. Two lines. For potassium, or you can say for potash, he has used circle along with circle 1, 2, 3. So this was the symbol for potash. Okay, for other symbols, for example, if we take example of strontium, for strontium, he has used a circle along with the four lines at four centers. So for strontium, For baryta, he has used the circle and with the bigger lines inside. Okay, barytes or baryte. Barytes. Next, for iron, he has used a symbol circle along with I inside. Iron. Okay, this is iron. Next one, for zinc, he has used circle along with the J. Zinc. Zinc. So he has used circle along with Z. Again he has used copper as circle plus C. So for copper, or you can say this is cuprum, copper, he has used a circle along with the letter C. Then for lead, he has used circle along with L, lead. Then we have got silver, that is argentinum. So he has used a circle with S in silver case. So silver, for gold he has used a circle along with the small lines at the center, and he has written G in the center. But this type of lines were drawn inside the circle, indicating that it is gold. For platinum, he has used a circle along with the letter P. So platinum. Okay, so mercury, he has used only circle without writing anything, just like barytes where he has used a big, this one. For mercury, he has used a small dots. Okay, so for mercury, he has used a mercury without this one, mercury. Mercury. So these were the some of the symbols which were given by the John Dalton in case of year 1808. Okay, this year, because it is very essential to remember, because this is the year when John Dalton has given the atomic theory, where he has explained that at that time atoms were considered as individual now, but we know that today they are divisible. They can be divided into electrons, proton and neutron. So he said that each atom is, each element or everything is made up of a very tiny particles which are individual. But his theory became absolute, or it was rejected due to the reason that atoms can be divided. Now we know that they can be divided. So some of the examples of the elements which were classified by the John Dalton was like this. Now we were going to talk about the elements which are classified. Okay, children, now let's talk about the classification of elements, where we have classified them into metals, non-metals, metalloids and inert gases. So first point which I am going to discuss is that metals. So let us talk about metals. See, you might have seen a metallic scale. So when you beat it, you will find that there is some sound comes, and if you look at the surface of it, you will find that it is shining. So metals are the electropositive substances which produce sound on heating, as well as they are having a shiny surface. Other properties which we can talk about the metal is that they can be beaten into sheets. That is, they are malleable, and they can be drawn into wires, that is they are ductile. So these terms malleability and ductility is not for you, so I am not going to talk about this in much this one, but you must know what is it. So malleability means the metals can be drawn into beaten into sheets. Ductility means they can be drawn into wires. So you'll be amazed to know that 1 gram of gold can be drawn into a 2 kilometers of wire. So that much ductility gold is having. So we can say that even if you see the silver, it can be beaten into small, it can be beaten into very thin sheets. You have seen the sheets, silvery colored sheets which are covered in sweets. They are of a made up of a silver. So we can say that metals are malleable and ductile, where metals are sonorous, that is they produce sound. So we can say that sonorous, ductility, malleability, and then shining surfaces. They have shining surfaces. Now these are the physical properties of a metal. Let us talk about the chemical properties. Now when we are classifying the metal, we can say that metals are the electropositive elements. What is the meaning of electropositive elements? Now for example, electropositive means which get a positive charge on them. So for example, if I take a sodium as an example, we say that when we are writing as a sodium in a ionic form, we write Na plus. What is the meaning of this? Now, for this you need to study the higher level chemistry, that is for 8th and 9th. It is given, which is called as octet rule, where the each element has got 8 electron in its orbit. Now, they will try to occupy 8 electrons in their orbit, or they will give away. So here when we see the atomic number of sodium, it is 11. So if we divide, the first orbit takes 2 electron, second orbit 8, last 1. So it's very difficult for sodium to take 7 electrons from some other elements. Rather it is easy to give a 1 electron and attain 1 plus charge. That's why all the elements which are having 1, 2 and 3 electrons in their outermost orbit. Now what is the orbit where the, I'll show you one diagram. Suppose sodium we are taking. So this is the orbit where we get first subshell, second it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Last orbit is having only 1. So if it loses this 1 electron, what is the next stage, or you can say what type of structure we will get? We will get that Na plus 1, 2. Now 8, total 8. What it means that when the element is having a 8 electron in its orbit, it is stable. It does not react within it. So everybody, or in spite of electron, you can say that human being, everybody wants stability in their life. That's why even electrons, even the metals also, they want to get a stable state. That when they give this, what is happening in place of this 2, 8, 1, now the number of electron remains 10 here, plus 1 is given because it has donated 1 electron to someone who is in need of 1 electron. For example, I'll show you one diagram of a sodium chloride. Now see what actually is happening in this case. Here sodium, as I said, that it has got 1 electron extra. So here sodium, here chlorine. Chlorine, we know that the atomic number is 17. So two electrons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the last orbit it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what it will do, it will take 1 electron from here and attain octet rule. As a result, it results into the formation of sodium chloride. That is your common salt is formed. So it takes 1 electron and forms a sodium chloride compound. Okay, this is what is happening in case of chemicals. So all the metals, all the elements which are having either 1 or 2 electrons or 3 electrons in their outermost orbit, they are classified as a metal. Okay, so you need not have to worry about these structures. I have just given a brief idea because later on you will study in details. Okay, children. Now, before going into a further detail, let us study about the symbols of metal. So, what does it mean? Symbols of metal. Symbols of metals. So, whenever we are representing a metal in short form representation. Short form representation of a metal, names of the metal is known as symbols. So, for example, when we are writing the names of the elements like magnesium, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, zinc, nickel, platinum, lithium, barium, any name of the elements we are writing, we need not have to write every time complete name. We can represent them. So there are certain rules for writing a symbol of the metals. Normally in English, the most of the elements name is written with a capital letter. For example, C is written for carbon. Now when we talk about the carbon, we write capital C, but there are other elements which are having the same initial, that is they are starting with the same alphabet. So for example, another elements for calcium, cobalt. So how to represent this? Because they all are having the same initial letters. So to initiate, first two letters are, in case some of the elements, the first two letter is taken as, for example, for representing calcium we write capital C and small a. For cobalt we write capital C and small o. Never write this o capital. If you write this capital C capital O, it becomes carbon monoxide, highly poisonous gas. So when you are writing capital C and capital O, the name of the element and the changes. This becomes a compound, carbon monoxide. Whereas when you write a C and capital C and small o, it becomes a cobalt. That is the name of the element. So how to represent? First we have to take a chemical. Now in case if the further some more elements are there whose names are starting with this same letter, for example, when we have written a nitrogen, nitrogen we represent it with N. Okay, now when we are talking about the sodium, we don't know this, we cannot, we have not representing a sodium with SO or something. We are representing sodium with Na. What does it mean? It means that the names of Latin words are used. For example, for sodium we are using natrium. So natrium is written for sodium, kalium is written for kaliums. So natrium, Latin name natrium for sodium, kalium for potassium. So we represent K for this one. For iron we represent ferrum. Ferrum. Ferrum for iron. Cuprum for copper. Because here see copper C, here also C. So we are not writing copper with Cu. We are means C, capital C. We are taking a Latin name. So let us take, so silver, Argentinum. We are writing Argentinum. So for symbol for silver is AG, Argentinum. For gold, we are writing O, Aurum. So AU is written as Aurum. AG, AU, and then for mercury we are writing Hg. We are not writing Me for this because it is Latin. Its Latin name is Hydrargyrum. So we take Hg as mercury. Some people say mercury, some say mercury. So it depends on you. Whatever you want to pronounce as you wish. You can write mercury or mercury. So other names are 14, it is written as, it is taken as a Sn. So the name Sn means stannum. Sn is stannum. For antimony we write Sb, the Latin name is stibbium. When we talk about this antimony, we are not writing At or this one, we are writing Sb, which means that the stibbium is the correct word. Now for tungsten, you may be knowing that it is represented with letter W, means its Latin name is Wolfram. Wolfram, Worlfram, Wolfram. So capital letter W is represented element tungsten, right? So these are the some of the name symbols of the elements where we have taken as English name, then their first capital letter, then with second letter, and then third case we have taken the names of the elements from the Greek, the names which are starting from in Greek. So for lead we are using Pb, we are not using Le, because in Latin Pb stands for plumbum. Plumbum. So P and B letters are used for representing letters. So these are the rules for writing the symbols of the elements. Now children, we are going to discuss about the non-metals, right? So as I said that metals are electropositive, here non-metals, they are electronegative metals. We can say that non-metals are electronegative metals, means they are always in search of electron from other species, that is from metals. So when they metals and non-metals, they come close together, they either share or they form a coordination bond and result in the formation of compounds. So we have got non-metals like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen. Then we have got a halogen gases fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, carbon, sulfur, phosphorus. These gases do not have a luster, means they do not have a shine. So no luster, no luster, that is shining surfaces, or they do not shine. Okay, shining surfaces or no shining. So human, we cannot find any sounds, or they are not sonorous, they cannot be ductile. Just you can write down the opposite of the metals, that non-metals are having the similar properties. So for some of the metals whose symbols we can write that, for example hydrogen, we know that it is just written as hydrogen, just capital H. Oxygen, we write oxygen, it is a, when we write single O, it means that it is a nascent oxygen, it is not available in nature. Whenever we talk about the oxygen gas, we have to write like this, O2. So the symbol, because two electrons are less, so it's a 2 8, electronic configuration is 2 6, so -2 is always available. So -2 means two oxygen molecules, they combine together and they form a one, two nascent oxygen, they combine form a one oxygen molecule. So here we are talking about the symbol, so we need to bother about this, not this, because it is a oxygen molecule. So we have to write this one. Then for nitrogen, nitrogen, then we have got symbol for nitrogen, we have got a symbol for fluorine, Fl. Okay, chlorine, chlorine we write Cl, right? For bromine we write Br. Okay, for phosphorus we write capital P, sulfur we write capital S, carbon we write capital C, iodine we write single I. So these are the symbols of non-metals where we are using. So if we are talking about the non-metals, we have to study about the know their properties. What is, they are electronegative. So first property is that they are electronegative. What is the meaning of this? That they will take a electron from other species, because of they will get a negative charge. So we are writing Cl minus, Br minus like this, because they are the electronegative. Now when we are representing these elements in case of positive and negative cases, for example sodium Na plus, Cl Na minus, so we talk about the cation and anion, which is quite high for you people, so we'll not talk about this cation and anion. You just remember that when we write plus, plus on the top, if it is electropositive, when we write a minus, it is a electronegative elements. Now next classification of the element is metalloid. Now here when we are talking about the metalloids, these are the elements which show some properties of metal and some properties of non-metals. We can say that they are having the intermediate properties of metal and non-metals. So for examples of metalloids are arsenic. Example for them is arsenic As, antimony Sb, okay, germanium Ge. Then we have got a bismuth, which is Bi, bismuth Bi. These are the metalloids. It means that they are the examples of metalloids which we will be showing some of the properties of metal, some of the properties of non-metal. So both the properties they are having. Sometimes we these metals they are mostly used for making the semiconductors. They are used for making the highly conductible substances, means you can say superconductors. Your microchips which are made in mobiles and computers, we are using these metalloids. Now fourth category of the classification is noble gases. So let us talk about the noble gases. Noble gases. The name, as you can see, that noble means very high state. That is, they do not require anybody to react with them. So they are also called as inert gases. Means they do not react very easily to anybody, or even in difficulty also they do not react because they are stable. So we can say them that noble gases or king gases. These gases they are available in trace quantities. So the symbols for noble gases are: first one is helium, second one is neon, third one argon, fourth one xenon, radon, Rn. Okay, so these are the one more is there where we can say that krypton is also a noble gas. So we can remember the term Hina, Nina or Karina ki Xerox Hairani, like that we can remember this term, and we can remember the names of the noble gases. Now children, one skillful activity is given on page number 43. Let us solve that. We have to classify the elements given in metal, non-metal and metalloids and inert gases. So first one, radon, we have to write it into in inert gases. Radon is inert gas, as I had said that Rn, radon inert gas. Then we have got a calcium into metal, bismuth as non-metal, bismuth as metalloid, nitrogen as non-metal, argon as inert gases, xenon as inert gases, oxygen non-metal, helium inert gases, carbon, you can say carbon, though the carbon is considered as a non-metal because carbon, its atomic number is 6, so we have got a 6, carbon is 6, distribution is 2 4, so 4 electrons. Though being 4 electron in its outermost orbit, it forms a very large or huge amount of compounds in living as well as in non-living material. So it has got a property of self-linking, that is, carbon combines with other carbon, one carbon where it is having 1 2, third one where it is having 1 2 3 4, so another carbon where it is having 1 2, another one 1 2 3 4, it has got a covalent bonding, it shares the bond, it neither gives nor takes electrons, so it will form a covalent bonding is formed, sharing, covalent bonding, where neither it is giving electron nor it is taking, it is sharing the electron. Two of it, four of it, this carbon is shared by 4 electrons are shared by this carbon, so they form a compound C2, like that. When it combines with C2H4, it forms an ethane, CH4, it combines. Now see how the valency of the carbon, when we are talking about the carbon, carbon has got 4 electrons in its outermost core. So 1 2 3 4, so 4 hydrogen it requires, because hydrogen is 1, so it will take you here one more hydrogen where it is having 1, so it will take you one more hydrogen here in its outermost orbit, so it will give here one more hydrogen, it is having 1. So as a result, it results into the formation of a compound called as CH4. See, CH4, which is methane. So it forms methane molecule. So it gives 4 electron and forms a methane. So like this, it is though classified into a non-metal, it forms a very large quantity of compounds. Next one, we are having hydrogen. Hydrogen is non-metal. Antimony, we have metalloid. Arsenic, we have got a metalloid. Silver as a metal. Germanium as a metalloid. platinum as metal, gold as metal. So we can solve this exercise given on page number 43 as a skill fill, and we can complete this one. Okay, children, now I am going to give you homework. Okay, children, for homework for the day is that write the names of five metals, non-metal, non-metals, metalloids, and inert gases along with their symbols. Okay, children, about the compounds and its difference between compound and mixture and atom, molecule and their formulas, we will talk in our further classes, that is in future classes whenever we meet together. Okay, thank you.